Hey guys, welcome to the 12 o'clock speaker co-working. This is the call we do every day, sponsored by SpeakerHub, where we help speakers to get paid for more stages. Whether they show up for free or not, they still should walk away with some money, right? We don't believe in free speech at SpeakerHub. We believe every time you open your mouth, you probably should be getting paid if you have the skills to do so. So, what we talk about on this call is we help people to get on more stages, to sell from more stages, because that's the only way to stay in business. If you had to choose between running Facebook ads for 30 seconds or giving a 30-minute talk about your company, most people would choose to give that 30-minute talk. And that's what we encourage here at SpeakerHub. So today, what we normally do, we answer a bunch of questions. We teach a little bit about, look at Jasmine, that changed their hair. Look at that. Oh, look at old Jasmine that straightened it out on him. I'm like, is that Prince? She came here with the. I'm sorry.
I needed a
You know?
change.
No, I mean, I was just like, holy crap, look at that. She got her hair straighter than Jesus's, right? But but no, good
Funny.
to see you,
You're
Jasmine. It
funny.
looks
You're
great. That's my
funny.
way of saying it looks incredible, right? It was
Thank
that hair is show stopping. I messed up my introduction.
you.
So, but this is
It
where
was
we
either
help
going to
people
be
to,
this or the blonde one, so this is it.
well, I'm gonna do blonde next time. I promised. I'm gonna do blonde. I'm gonna grow this out. Y'all gonna see an afro. I'm gonna look like George Jefferson for about 2 weeks. And then, see what people don't know is that a wave cap is really them people bald. They just slick their hair down. And
Oh.
their hair is about this long. Yeah, look, Carter's his hair about this long underneath. He just slicked it down with a wave cap so that it looked like he got a liner, but his hair stopped back up here.
You're funny, Ron.
I'm just saying that's from a men's perspective. I can't speak on women's hair, but from a male hair perspective, I know how we let our hair grow out. Um, but any updates? Any new progress? Any new anything? Any more pitching? Let me ask this question. What's you all's thoughts about the change of direction that we're going in? Focusing more on how do you build a business and use speaking as a promotional tool for the business instead of trying to make speaking the product, the business, the everything. Like it's just putting too much stress on one part. In my mind, it's putting too much stress on one part of the business. Jasmine, go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with the building a box, a certain aspect. And I think initially when you started this training, you dissected, which is what I have put into my framework. A portion goes to speaking. So speaking is still important. I pitch my podcast. I go out there, I'm educating, I'm learning, and it's leading me, right? Marketing. So that's still important on stages. And then now you've dissected, you've merged into building the project, which I'm happy about because that's part of my business plan. And so it falls into the business plan of building it so that it's just like being a realtor. When Lennox closed the business and I went straight into real estate, let's say when I was working with him, I was building facilities and I was working in the boxing and I felt complete. When I went into real estate, I was just a realtor. And while the amazing clients and all that, I dropped the ball by just buying and selling, just with my clients. I dropped the ball. Because if I had continued on my path and my passion and not totally throw away my wellness aspect of, building and, educating and wellness, I would have been in a better position than I am in now. So I don't believe we should totally leave the focus of speaking out of
Oh
it.
no. Let me clarify that. Let me clarify that because that ain't what we're saying, right? How many people here have gotten paid at their last gig $5,000?
Soon.
No. At your last one, got paid 5 grand, right? Now you see that. That's not a problem with the value that you bring to the table. That's a problem with the event planner not seeing your value. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that has nothing to do with whether you're worth it or not. It's that the person doesn't understand the value. So if somebody doesn't understand my value, it's my responsibility as the entrepreneur to extract that value anyway. So if you're like, man, Ron, we don't really have any proof that we should give you 10 grand to come talk. Cool. Cool. I will go and show you. And then I'm going to leave with 20 of my own because I'm good enough from the stage. I'll bet on myself. Do you see what I mean? I bet on myself that if somebody listens to me for 30 minutes about how to use speaking and podcasting to grow their business instead of TikToking, I'm going to walk out with a client.
And I'm like that too. I'm really like that. I mean, I grew up in the men's world, building fitness facilities. How many men said I couldn't do it? How many people got in Lennox's ears and said, "This girl can't do it, man." Yet we have Shaquille O'Neal chasing me to say, "I want to join what you're doing." So I'm just saying, I'm like you. If you tell me I can't do it, I'll show you I can do it 50 times over.
Yeah.
So in this aspect, I agree with you when you say, if someone pays us, if we, $1,000, and you're saying, "Oh, I'm not worth it," it's up to you to prove that you're worth the thought. So I'm on board with you when you say that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So it's not even really, and I use the word prove. I probably shouldn't have said it that way. It's not up. I'm not trying to prove anything to them. I'm trying to get paid for the work I'm doing. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not trying to prove a point to the event planner. I'm grateful that they gave me the referral to all of those people to talk in front of. Now I got to go and bet on myself when I'm on that stage that I could get paid for the time that I'm there. Is that fair, guys, or am I talking a different language?
Maybe
No, that
maybe
makes
the
sense.
word is just show them your value, not
Well,
not
I
necessarily
don't really.
prove.
Once they give me the opportunity, I don't even care about showing them anything. It's really showing myself, right? Like once I got the opportunity to be on stage, I ain't got to prove nothing to them anymore. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm already on the stage. Now I just gotta go and deliver and then grab the money I want out the room, right? Because I can't walk off the stage and say, I told you so. You should have paid me the money up front. Cool. They'd have said, we'd have gave you 5 grand, but we wouldn't have let you sell. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, I'm not
Yeah.
really even, once I get on the stage, I don't care anymore. What I care about as speakers is that many of us have never gotten paid up front, but we also have never gotten paid on the back end intentionally.
I
Does that make
believe when you
sense?
over when you over deliver though, the market will catch up to your value.
100%. I don't disagree with that. We're on the same page. I was on a call with a young lady who said, I do a lot of free speaking gigs and no one is paying me. And I asked if she had other products and services. She says, yes, I run a consulting company that does X, Y, and Z. And I asked her, how do you get clients for your consulting company? And she says, usually people hear me at my talks. It didn't click in her brain that she just needed to do more talks to grow her consulting company. When she's thinking, oh, I just need to get my name out there and then people will start paying me and the speaking will be another source of revenue on top of the consulting. What she didn't realize that the speaking is the marketing for the consulting. The speaking is the sales for the consulting. What does the word pre-sold mean? Anybody know what pre-sold mean? Victor, pre-sold. Pre-baked. Pre-baked cookies.
Honestly, when I think of pre-sold, I'm thinking of you're putting out dope content that sells for you even before you even ask for meet with a prospective client. That's how I think of it. But you might be thinking about it a different way.
No. How long is your normal sales meeting?
Very short.
Okay. But how long?
Um anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep, 15 to 20 minutes. Most people sales meeting 15 minutes to an hour, somewhere in that range. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. How long is the normal podcast interview?
45 minutes.
Same range, right? Somewhere in that range, 20 minutes to an hour, right? What's the difference between a podcast interview and a sales call?
Nothing really to me.
Yeah, you just don't close them on the podcast interview.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. You cover the same stuff about your business. You cover the same problems. You just don't close on a podcast.
Ron, listen, Ron, I'll say this, man. I'm right there with you. And this is why I tell people, like, And for all the speakers in here, and you know, Ron is just you. I mean, Ron and Angela are providing a great platform, guys. Like, if you're even doing free speaking, let people record you and post that. Like, if they here's the thing, if you want to sell, right, like if somebody sees you just for a short reel, it could be a minute to a minute and a half, and they see you're doing your thing for that minute, that's sold for you already, right? You don't have to have a long sales meeting with that person. They're no, man, what Jasmine did, that was hot. Like, Kevin, oh my gosh, like I've never heard it like that before. Guys, content is king, and when it's going to sell before you get into the sales meeting. So Ron,
Yeah.
I totally hear you, man.
Yeah. So when we talk about pre-sold, right? Something that is sold already, right? And I'll give you an example of this. So let's go to right. So this person right here said, "Hey Ron, I found out about you on YouTube video. Do you have an hour consulting package that I can purchase?" That means they watched me for an hour online already. I don't need to sell him. He was already ready to buy. Right? When I go here, Gregory Adaka, hey, I saw you on Chantel's podcast on YouTube. Right? How can I engage you for your services? They're already pre-sold before they got to me. Right? So this is what I know. I know this world of going on free podcasts, doing free speeches, things of that sort. Right? Here's another one. 1 second. My phone is going off over here about a meeting. Right? So I go over here to Galper, and I think I got some photos over here from an event that I was at a year ago or whatever. Let's go down. I'm looking for, holy crap, they got a gang of stuff on here. I can't find it. Williams Family Mini Session, blah, blah. 24 West Michigan Academy. 1 second. Here it is here, right? So here I flew up 17 hours to Troy, Michigan, to Detroit, right? And let me click on my face, and it should bring up all of my photos, right? So this is me doing some interviews, doing some teaching, blah, 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 on what we do at SpeakerHub. Or at the time, it was PitchDB. It wasn't even SpeakerHub, right? Now, I know I can point to, this is me presenting, selling from the stage, right? I could, classroom full of folks, another 200 people. So I did this talk maybe 4 times that weekend. Every time a new group came in for a different session, I did my 15 minutes. All I needed was 15 minutes. Boom. I could account at least 15 grand to this referral from Sean. You see what I mean? Sean introduced me to 200 of his folks. Right? Hey, I'm bringing up Ron who can help you solve this problem. I paid to do this. I flew up there myself, paid for my own hotel. Why? Because I'm getting a referral to 200 people. Speaking ain't the business, guys. It's cool, but it ain't the business. Speaking is the marketing for the business. Right? Let me show you a guy who does this very well. This dude, Rich Dad, right? Robert Kiyosaki. This dude was doing seminars all over the world for free. Come to a free stadium seminar. Y'all remember them? Right? It was like huge room of people. Everybody came to these things. They were free. Why? Because he understood he could get you to buy his books and his training in the back of the room. Right? This dude. Look at this. High chance that this was free. Now, he does sell tickets too, but he does a lot of stuff for free. Why? Because you get this many people in the room, somebody buying something.
He gets you to
So
come to the free summit, and then from the summit, the free summit, he sells the tickets
yeah,
to and people buy because the summit was so fantastic that they would pay anything to get in to hear more of what he has to say. And
yeah,
this every summit, I've known Tony Robbins since I was working with the government because he came to Toronto and I have his book that he signed for me. And it's the same story he tells at the summit every time. I could recite it in my sleep. He might add a little bit to it, but he promises more at the other, which is what, we're
yeah.
doing. On the podcast yesterday that came live, I was shocked because I spoke to her on the side a little bit about my business plan, that this is a podcast I'm doing, but my whole business plan is, a portion speaking and a portion is courses and, some, stuff like that. And I was shocked when I listened to the podcast that she did put in there. And Jasmine has courses and group courses, and so she is already doing that infomercial for me, which is fantastic. And part of it is picking it up from here as well.
Sorry about that. I just got a gift for Men's Day here in Colombia. Okay, come on. You want to explain to what just happened? You can explain it. Okay. Por,
Hola.
por qué tú dame este regalo?
Hola.
Porque Día del Hombre.
Días de hombre, ¿sí?
Hombre, dad.
Muchas gracias. ¿Qué es? ¿Tú quieres abres? Let's see what my gift is. Sorry.
Fresitas.
Okay, so my family makes a habit of buying chocolates for me that they're gonna eat. I promise you, when I get this box back to them, they're gonna eat this in 2 minutes. What you think? It's good? Okay, all right, here, go, enjoy, okay?
Son dos bolitas.
Sí,
¿Me
sí.
puedes dar una?
See. You hear her just say, can I have one? That's, go ahead.
¿De qué la moda?
Okay,
¿De qué está?
sí, siga y compartir con tu hermana. Estoy trabajando, okay? Muchos besos, besos. Gracias. Okay, so, all right. Hey, cierra mi puerta, por favor. Yeah, so I guess today is Men's Day, International Men's Day or something. Bye-bye. So, yeah, I always get chocolates that my family wants. I don't ever get anything I want. I get what they want. And they're going to be gone in 2 minutes. I promise you. There is my goddaughter, my son, and my daughter's out there. Them chocolates ain't going to stand a chance. But moral of the story, let me say something else. Like, why do we even do this? It's because of that. Like, we should be able to spend more time with our families doing the things we want to do. And if speaking and sending pictures is the only thing that's standing in between that, dude, like, really? That's a small price to pay for Carter's to be able to spend more time with his daughter, right? For who, I don't know who else has kids on here, but for people, like, it's about family, guys. Like, I do this for them. So, like, look, let's just win. Like, let's go. While everybody else is pay me to show up. Cool. You go ahead and speak for free and sell from the stage. Now, do we still have paid speaking gigs in SpeakerHub? Yes. But when I asked how many of you all have been paid $5,000 to speak, nobody put their hand up. And since that was the case, then how do we remove that barrier for you? How many of y'all have a product that's over $100? A product that's over $100? Carter, you got a product over $100? Yeah, right. We got products that are over $100. How many of us have ever had a job that paid over $100 an hour? Okay, most people ain't never had a job that paid over $100 an hour, right?
Okay.
So if that's the case, if you've never been paid, I'm talking about like where your salary was, I work 8 hours today, I'm gonna get $800 on my check. I work 8 hours tomorrow, another $800, right? So that's $100,000 salary, right? So yeah, it's 100 grand. Every $20 an hour is every $10 an hour is 20,000. So it's 200 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 200 grand, right?
Yeah.
Now, why do I bring that up? The numbers, because of the internet, has almost made us disrespectful to how hard it is to make money, right? It's like, oh man, they're only paying $200. I'm like, dude, it's for 20 minutes worth of work. Do the 20 minutes worth of work and go find 100 more people that's willing to pay you the same thing, and you got a decent business. So imagine being able to go give a speech. Case in point, my boy yesterday, Chris, I can't think of his last name, but Chris hopped on and he owns the pepper spray company. Y'all remember him? How much was his product?
His pepper spray is
$25.
$25 for one,
Yeah.
75 for three. And, you know, and then if you buy more than three, you get a little something with that. I've already told all my realtor friends about it.
How many gigs did he say he did in the last 10 years?
Remember that,
3,000.
but
He said he did 3,000 gigs. Why? Because he's like, dude, if I show up and I show my product, people buying it. He's doing it for a $25 product. Some of us got products that are thousands of dollars. Right? So I'll give you I'll use a great example, right? A friend of mine is considered to be the greatest female athlete in history. Right? Now, let me tell you something. If I was the 30th fastest human on earth, I would have a track camp. Even though I may not be Usain Bolt, it's only 29 people faster than me. I can teach the rest of these 9 billion people how to run faster. Because guess what? You're going to have to go find the 29 that's faster than me, and they may not even have a training center. Does this make sense? Right? There's a guy his name is Lethal Shooter online. He ain't never played in NBA, but he can shoot. And you know what he showed people how to do? How to shoot. There's a guy that's training Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders on being a quarterback. This guy's never played quarterback in the NFL. But you know what he was willing to do that Peyton Manning probably wasn't willing to do, or Michael Vick wasn't willing to do? Start a camp, start teaching. Michael Vick was a better quarterback than this guy that's training Shedeur and Cam Ward. But you know what he was willing to do? I'm willing to put my name out there. The rest of them don't want to do it. I'll put my name in the hat to do it. Is this making sense? Like, it ain't about being the best. It's about being available. Sometimes the people that are the best don't have the courage to do it. Now, I think that the person I was talking about earlier, I won't mention their name, they could have had the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest female athletic institution on earth. Why? Because they were ahead of the game. Right? And everybody would have worked with them. Especially girl dads. We would have sent our daughter over there because this person has no blemishes on her record. Right? I mean, like, I'm talking about like character-wise, everything is there. So it's like, dude, I want my daughter to have the same strength, come from this and turn it into something. This is incredible. But here's the thing. They never put that product out because they focused on other things. But we missed the opportunities that are right in front of us. Lean into it. I screwed that up myself. I'm sitting there trying to teach people how to get higher paid speaking gigs. And I'm like, don't nobody even pay me. I go get my own money. Was missing the opportunities right in my face to just teach y'all how I make more money than every speaker I've ever talked to. I don't care who they are. From the stage, they go on stage, I go on stage. I walk off with more money than they do. Mine just comes next week. Line them all up. If they've ever met me before, we used to call it big bank, take little bank when I was coming up in the hood. If you come from the hood, you know what I'm talking about. Show the receipts and I'll show you mine. Right? So all I'm saying is I was missing the opportunity that's right in front of my face because I'm trying to, I can compete with these guys and do this, do that. Man, these folks, once I started realizing they weren't making any money, I'm like, oh, this is just arrogance with no substance. It's a bunch of people, I get paid this. Cool. When was the last time? Well, the pandemic. The pandemic was 5 years ago. What are we talking about the pandemic? 5 years ago. Well, the pandemic knocked down my, dude, you ain't recovered in 5 years. You're going to hate it over here. I'm just being real. And guess what? I don't care if you don't like it. I just don't. I don't need you as friends. I got 64,000 other ones. Just- right? Because nobody else have our data. So I'm like, dude, go ahead, do whatever you want. Right. But I want to get to Victor. Is this making sense, guys? We miss the opportunities that are right in our face sometimes. And I was using the track athlete as one, but myself as another. Like, yo, I was trying to, hey, here's like, to hell with that. Y'all want to make some money? Folks on here, y'all want to get paid. Y'all more likely to get paid doing what I'm talking about than trying to compete with Vernice. Vernice is great, and I high five. I'm glad she's a client of ours. But y'all are more likely to make 50 grand selling your product than what you are getting somebody to pay you 50 grand to show up. Is that fair? Yes or no? Okay. Victor, what up? And then we'll go to Lawrence.
Yes, sir. So I want to say something. I want to use 3 examples. One thing that was a game changer for me and how I thought about all of this was, y'all know Eric Thomas, E.T. the hip hop preacher. Man, in one of his videos, he talked about this, and this blew my mind. But he talks about the habit of practice, right? And he talks about like when your practice goes to another level, your performance goes to another level. And guys, like, and I'm also say this about Ron, guys. What Ron is doing with this whole thing every single day is he's practicing. Like this is helping him just as much as it's helping the people who come onto this Zoom, right? So like I would encourage everybody, find ways that you could like find little places where you can practice. One, like if you're not doing this now, a good place is just start. Like I'm talking about like entry level. It's not even on a stage. It's like literally going to networking events and just simply finding different ways to explain to people what you do. Always get in the habit of talking. And through those networking events, you never know how could that create an opportunity for you to speak here, speak there. Like when I figured out like, oh, it's not about when I get on the stage, like that's where it happens. No, happens in the little things where I'm practicing. And so once like I adopted that mentality, and like, you know, like ET says, when your practice goes to another level, your performance goes to another level. Like, man, it's been such a blessing to me. Just about under a month ago, I have a client, you know, we were on a phone call and they said, listen, Victor, I want to work with you exclusively. And like, as in like not working with anybody else. So they asked me, what's your number? So we're going to be starting July 1st. Right. But that wouldn't have happened for me if I wasn't finding every little like this is somebody who is like one of the best in what they've done. And for them to show that kind of confidence in me and say, hey, like, I don't want you, I'm gonna pay you not to work with anybody else. Like that's what it is. So like what Ron is saying, like he's living, like he's showing it to you right now. Like every day he's coming on here and practice. So by the time he gets like on a big stage or whatever, like it's no problem because he's doing this all the time. So guys, please, like if you're thinking, oh, I got to get on a stage in order to, or a podcast or anything like that, no, start it's the little things that's going to add up to the big thing. So, and I'll just give this one last example, right? Like I spoke for a convention out in Chicago. I had my presentation prepared. So it was on personal branding and leadership. So they flew me out there, paid me to speak and all of that stuff. And I remember I prepared my presentation and I had 2 presentations prepared because I'll figure out which one I was going to do. Guys, I got on stage and I was like, what am I going to do? Like, and I let them know, like, guys, I could go like 100 different ways with this. There's a lot of different ways I could do with this, but I want to make it about you guys. And honestly, when I got on stage, it was everything that the little practicing that I had been doing all along. That's what came to me. And that's what I ended up doing. And they told me that out of from leadership and attendees, that was the best presentation they had that week. So, find little places to practice. Don't wait for the big things. So important. Little wins are going to add up to big wins. That's what I wanted to share.
Yes. So building off that point right there about finding little ways to practice before you even get on the big stage, one thing that I've experienced is I used to be deeply afraid of like people's judgment. So one of the ways I got over that was I would do speeches on the street corner. So just imagine I'm standing there with my tripod, recording myself give a half-hour speech while people are walking by, cars are honking at me, in order to get over that. And what Ron brought up earlier about seeing the opportunity right in front of you, he just made me realize that. So for those of you who don't know, I'm 19 and I specialize in helping teens and young adults. So think about teenagers, college students, people like that. Often I'll have people's parents reach out to me and say, man, my son or my daughter is going through this, what can I do? And they want my advice. And oftentimes I can solve the problem very fast, but he just made me realize that now I could do classes in person where I could run a space. They could come in, pay for tickets, and for 2 hours, get pretty much a group coaching session with me. And people's parents would they would love that because you're getting advice from somebody who's not only just relevant in that, relevant to you age-wise, but they can see my track record and see, oh, he's spoken at this high school, he's worked here, he's done this. Of course I want my son to be like that.
So yeah, no, I think you all make really good points. Here's the gist. Sometimes we complicate it, right? We complicate it, we miss the opportunities that are right in front of us, right? And the complication, we've all heard it. I'm going to start speaking when I get my website. And then I get the website. Well, when I get more followers on my website, then I'm going to start doing it. And then I get more followers. Well, when I get more followers that make this much, then I'm going to start doing it. When I get more followers who make this much that live in this area. And it's like, okay, like, I don't know how else to say it. All I'm saying is we all want to make more money as speakers. The easiest way to go from getting paid zero up front and getting paid zero during the event and getting paid zero after the event is to look at the two things you can control. You can control how much you get paid during the event. You can control how much you get paid after the event. So if you still get paid in those two ways, you're still better off than not getting paid at all or using payment as an excuse as to why you're not speaking more. Now, if we go back to looking at podcast as a referral, meaning that we were introduced to this room full of people that could buy our products and services, our attitude completely changes, right? Our attitude completely changes because, one second, this TV is driving me crazy. Okay, I'm doing daddy daycare over here because my daughter and her mama in there fighting, and I had to go save her because they go at it. I'm like, dude, like relax. And they just get to screaming at each other. It's like, oh, this is the worst. So, but I had to do the thing I can control. I can save her, But moral of the story is a lot of times we're not looking at the things that we can control, right? How many of y'all have set a goal that you want to make from your business outside of speaking? Right? How many of y'all are gun to the head certain that you're going to hit it? Do you know what I mean by gun to the head certain, Jenny?
No, but whatever it is, not it, I don't think.
Okay. Gun to the head certain is that whatever your current plan is for you to get to that goal, if somebody put a gun to your head and said, you can change it right now, but once you get back going, if at the end of the year you don't hit it, we're going to pull the trigger. Would you be willing to bet on your current plan? And it's
No,
okay
and
to
I
say
misheard
no.
what you said. I didn't realize you said gun to the head.
Gun.
Yeah, I'm
I know
not
you're
gun
in
to the
Europe.
head. So,
Gun
yeah.
to the head.
Yeah.
Right? How many of y'all are gun to the head certain that you're going to hit your goal with your current plan?
Well, I totally believe that if you make a plan, you have to be certain about it, Ron, or it's not going to happen. Life happens, circumstances happen. But
I hear you, Jasmine, but that ain't always what happened.
yeah, okay.
There's the old saying that no business plan has survived its first touch with reality. Everybody had a business plan and we missed the goals. We all missed our goals. Come on, let's not act like we haven't. We've all set speaker goals, business goals, and we missed. Why? Because the plan that we had wasn't certain. It was consultant assumed. We had assumed that the market would buy this, right? Well, I'll give you a great example. Lawrence made a consultant assumption. Parents would love to have that. He has no proof. That's not picking on Lawrence. I'm just saying this is what we say as consultants. Oh man, if I do that, they're gonna love that. Yeah, okay. 3 months later, you're like, man, okay. Did nobody buy that one? I thought they was gonna love that, and business is out of business. No, nobody wants to talk about that, right? Ain't nobody. How about? Come on, okay. All right, I'm gonna talk to myself, right? I'm gonna give this speech to me, right? We try things that we're not certain in, and then we're so afraid to even execute on it because it may prove us wrong. I got this plan. Cool. I want to be on 4 podcasts, 1 association, 1 conference. A lot of people are on that plan, but they haven't even started pitching associations yet. They've done 0 pitches to conferences. Do you see what I mean? Well, they got the plan in front of them, but they're not executing it. Right? They're using SpeakerHub or whatever other things that they're using, but they're not fully executing on that strategy. That's why I like the gun to the head thing, because it makes you think like, holy crap, if there were real consequences to me not getting there, I would change. I would do more. I would put in more energy. Is that fair? Right? So here's one thing I know. I don't get paid to show up to speak. I get paid when people take action and they buy our product, right? So we tried a lot of different ways to get more people to buy our product. Every month we get about 1,200 to 1,500 people that used to sign up for trials. Out of those people that would sign up for trials, maybe 1% of them would come over and say, yeah, I want to pay for this. Now we had to figure out, well, why is it out of 1,200? Why is 100 of them signing up, 10% of them signing up? Well, because the other 90% never got to talk to us and really understand what we were doing. Do you see what I mean? They were talking to a web page instead of getting to talk to me about how I could actually help them. Is that fair? So you know what we said? Cool. No more signups. So this month, can't nobody sign up no more. Either you talk to me or you don't use it. Why? Because you know what we get? Oh, I tried that and it didn't work. Did you meet with anybody? Did you send any pictures? No, it didn't work. And then now you're disputing charges on your credit card for a product that you didn't use. So I would just rather you fail alone than fail with us. Let me say that again. You got to be willing to let people fail by themselves than fail with you, because you become the excuse as to why they didn't get to where they were going. This is entrepreneurship talk. This ain't got nothing to do with speaking. As business owners, sometimes we are in a needy place where we're like, well, you know, I'll just let them try it. I believe in them. I'll let them do this. I'll let them do that. And then they end up disappointing you anyway, right? Yes, baby. Okay, see you. Right? So, but do you see what I mean? So sometimes people are willing to fail with you so that you can be the reason they didn't succeed. You ever got blamed for some stuff? Okay. You okay. I need to get one of them hand raising things for my daughter. Good Lord. Right? But you ever had someone that no matter what you did, it was always somebody else's fault? Man, how's this going? Oh man, they didn't pick me. How's this going? Well, man, if they would have just did that, oh man, they racist. Man, they don't like this. You're like, dude, I'm not even talking to you, right? But sometimes as business owners, we become that excuse for the client.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
So,
Right?
yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Right? We become that excuse for the client. And it's actually better Because you got to think, if someone comes to Jasmine, here's the basis of losing weight: move more, eat less. I'm a wellness consultant now because I just solved the riddle, right? Move more, eat less. No matter what other stuff you add to it, it's a version of move more and eat less, right? Now, you know what somebody will do? They will go meet with Jasmine. They will pay her for 3 months worth of consultants. And when she don't lose weight, when they don't lose weight, they're going to say, man, her plan was too hard. Man, I ain't want to do keto. I ain't want to do this. Oh, man, I can't live without my Pepsis. You're like, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with Jasmine. This is a discipline problem on your side, but Jasmine is the latest version of the excuse. Because you know what? They work with another weight loss person beforehand. Is this fair, or am I like totally off base?
It is true, because most people don't understand that, there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into losing weight. It's not eat more, eat less. But if the mind isn't in it, if you don't connect that brain to what you're doing, you're never going to lose. You're never going to lose the weight, because every day you wake up, there's an excuse, and you find a little way to modify what you need to do. Just like people come on here, they modified, a little bit of what they need to do. And if it doesn't work, it's SpeakerHub, but it's way more than, it's a whole holistic thing, but most people don't understand that. And so that's why they would blame me. Oh, I didn't move,
Yeah,
and
100%.
I heard it all.
Yeah, exactly. So all I'm saying is, guys, we're learning as we go too. I've owned this company for 9 months, right? Some of the things we've done have been great. 5x revenue in 6 months since October 15th. Great. But that ain't enough, right? I need more speakers on stages. I need more people pitching. I need more speakers not being in poverty with their speaker revenue, right? 90% of speakers that come to SpeakerHub that are applying now, we get to see their income and everything. It's under $40,000 a year. And that's not a criticism. It's just showing you where we can help. And the first place that we can help is just showing you how to get paid. Because if you're only doing 5 gigs, I could double that if you just start speaking for free. Does that make sense? I can increase your frequency of speaking just by getting you on more stages and changing the way you think about speaking. Now that I got you on more stages, now we have more opportunities to present ways for you to get paid. Is that fair or no? Right? Because that's the whole motive. The winners are going to win, right? And I think, how many of you all here, if you were making $300,000 a year in your main business, would still be doing speaking? Put your hand up. Right? No, you don't have to. No, that ain't a guilt question. Right? Because I know a lot of folks, if I gave them 300 grand right now, they wouldn't speak. they wouldn't speak anymore. Ever again. They wouldn't even think about speaking. But here's the other side of it. A lot of us aren't making 300 grand and we're still not speaking. So don't tell me when you get to 300 grand, you're going to speak more, because you ain't speaking now. You ain't going on the podcast now. You ain't doing the work now. And I ain't bitching at you. That ain't my job. But we got to deal in facts, right? One of my favorite Jay-Z lines, he says, a lot of y'all like to, he says, what I'm telling y'all is just the facts, while a lot of your other coaches want to adjust the facts. We don't adjust the facts over here. We tell you the truth. These are the facts. So how do we get better? How do I get Ann McNeil on more podcasts? How do I get Kevin on more stages? And how do I get Chantel to sell more books? How do I get Sharon to help more entrepreneurs that need to take better care of themselves? How do I get Jasmine to get me down to at least 20% body fat, right? Like, how do we do these things?
Ron, just give you a quick little story here, why same mindset is so important. And even, all of us need a dose of it every time, even one of the days on here is because when I was a kid, Michael Jackson and, and I said, oh my God, he's got so much money. He's probably going to change him. He's got that much money and he's still doing it. So I used to figure out why those people that are multi-gazillionaire still do the things they do. And that's why I put my hand up that if I do make $300,000, which, you know, in this lifetime is really absolutely not that much, but I'm just saying, if you get the core people in that they believe in building a business, doing their speaking, changing lives, you know, that's what I said on the podcast. You know, I said, you know, somebody asked me to do something for free, come over, and I am going to do it because it's not, I am going to hopefully change. And that's by just watching all these. I used to have a problem with money that way, thinking I don't want to make that much money because it might change me. But then when I switch the switch and realize now that it's lives that I'm changing, then now I'm comfortable with making a gazillion dollars.
Again, I wasn't accusing people of not wanting to speak. What I was saying is most of the time, speaking was the easiest business to start.
Okay, I see. No,
So
I know
they
you.
defaulted to speaking because it was the easiest way. They didn't have any other products. They didn't have any other services. So they could tell their story. Their story they already knew. Their story they already owned. Their story they could already monetize. Does that make sense? So I wasn't saying that people wouldn't continue to do it. I can show you videos of me speaking 25 years ago, right?
Oh, no, I know that, Ron. I know that's not what you're
hold on for a
saying.
second.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure no one misunderstands me.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if the business is so hard, giving an alternative where we had more leverage, a lot of us would do the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that I'm saying, right? Like there's so many opportunities, right? Like I think Larry has one of the biggest opportunities out there. And I'll probably talk to him offline about it because I think he has an opportunity that nobody's thinking about in a very, very, very commoditized space, which is athlete speaking, right? He has an opportunity that he probably had never thought about. But I'm like, dude, with what you have and the relationships you have, there's at least $10 million on the table that he's not even exploring, possibly. I don't know. I'm just saying, I see a $10 million opportunity with the Lundy group, right? Just by changing one little thing, right? So, Victor, go ahead.
You know what, Ron? You know, you're saying all of this, and you know, it's kind of like, why aren't people doing what they have to do? So, and here's with working so many business owners, this is the conclusion I've come to. So, one of my clients is one of America's top business coaches, and you would think that the reason that people's businesses fail is due to lack of money. Like you would think probably that's one of the like the number one reason. But what he told me was that the reason why most businesses fail is simply due to lack of execution.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's not working out for you, is because you're not doing it. You're not executing, right? Man, I read this book a while ago. If you haven't read it, go out and check it out. It's Simon Sinek's. It's called The Infinite Game. Right? He says in business, you're going to fail if you try to play. And this is going back to your question, Ron, about the 300. You had $300,000. Would you keep on speaking? If you're trying to play the infinite game of business with a finite mindset, the answer is no. Of course not. But if you are playing the infinite game with an infinite mindset, it's not about the money. And he says, number one, if you want to play the infinite game of business, is that you have to have a just cause. So when you have a just cause, in other words, you have a vision of the world that's better than it is right now, and that's what you're working towards, the $300 is pennies to you. So for anybody here, like if you're playing this game with a finite mindset, you're gonna drop off. You're not gonna execute. You're gonna quit if somebody gives you $50,000.
So I also want to make sure that people know I'm not talking about anybody in this group. So
No, not at all. Yeah.
But we got a lot of people that are going to watch it on YouTube and everything else. So this is more of a broad talk to y'all. Just happen to be in the audience at this TED Talk, right? And so I just want to make sure that nobody thinks, look, it's y'all business. I ain't never borrowed any money from nobody on the call. I ain't never lent any money to anybody on the call. So whatever you do, high five to you. Run the business. That's why you became an entrepreneur. Run it the way that you want. I think I have the responsibility to show the pathway to my clients who want to grow a business how to grow that business. And that's by us all sharing perspectives, whether it's Victor, whether it's anybody on AJ, Cardis, Sharon, Lawrence, just different perspectives, right? So we got 7 minutes. One of the things we implemented about 2 weeks ago, and I got to get back to it, we got to keep our comments to 30 seconds because if 10 people talk for 3 minutes, half of the call is over, right? So, and then we're going to also go to a thing where we're probably going to go to like a question and comment section at the end of every call. So then just sum up the one thing. What I don't want is I want to piggyback. If it's already been said, we don't need to repeat it again for 45 more seconds. So I'm going to get control over the calls better, something I'm practicing on. So I need to upgrade my Zoom to make it where we have a presenter screen instead of everybody being able to talk so we can kind of get better control over that. So Ange, let's figure that out with our Zoom. How can we make it where we have more control? But Lawrence, go ahead and 30 seconds.
Yeah, what I was gonna say would have been a piggyback.
Yeah, we don't need no more piggybacks. See, that's called coachability. You saw that? You saw that coaching live and in person, and he willingly accepted it. That is the beauty of being young, right? Is that we get it, right? But that's what we all are as business owners, right? We're all still kind of babies. I mean, yeah, I've done it for a little longer, but compare me to Jeff Bezos, I'm like this big. Like you can't even see. I'm like a fingerprint compared to him, you know? So, but we're all gonna get better together. Is that fair? Right? So the purpose of these calls is to help us to get better together. Imagine this. If you could go from not speaking, not getting paid to speak at all, to every time you go on a podcast, you make $1,000. Imagine if every time you went on a podcast, you made $1,000. How often would you go on podcast? All the time, right? Kevin would buy more pitches. I'm just messing with, look at Kevin. Kevin know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna let that be, right? Kevin would buy more pitches, right? If we knew that we had a guaranteed way that every time I go on a podcast, you get those leads that I showed you. Because I get those regularly. If I go on a podcast, somebody's always hitting me up, right? When I go live, people come in. I know if you come to one of our meetings twice, 99% chance you're going to subscribe to what we're doing. Because you don't invest 2 hours into this type of stuff if you ain't interested in it, right? But when I look at the data and I see that most of us as speakers are not making any money, somebody has to be willing to help finally put some money in your pockets. Everybody else is taking money out your pocket. Pay me for coaching. I'm like, dude, you ain't got to pay. Just come on over here. We got you. We'll give you the gems. Any questions as we close out for the day? Is this helpful? Are these types of conversations helpful? Or should I go back to the fluffy, here's where the birds meet and all of this type of stuff? Do we want to know about speaking, or do we want to know about how to build a business using speaking? All right, y'all had all the comments in the world. Piggyback. This is your chance to piggyback.
Speaking, we want to make money. We want to make money, Ron. That's why everybody's here.
How, Kevin? You want to make money from your trainings?
Business. Speaking business.
Okay, cool.
Not just speaking.
Okay, cool. Anybody else? Anybody piggybacks? Piggyback. He got a big back. Big back Kevin. Big back. No, Kevin's in incredible shape. Let me stop. He'll probably put me in a headlock and, squeeze 15 pounds out of me. Any other feedback on this?
Yeah, I just want to say, Ron, for me, definitely the business aspect, because, from the time that I've been here, I have learned like so much because I put it as, even though I've opened my business for a little bit now, but I've just kind of been crawling. I've had some wonderful coaching, done some things, but especially when you're talking about the numbers and then the different aspect, how you can know something or have an idea or heard it before, but the way that you explain it, it's just like, it's just so, you make it one relatable, but you simplify it too. And then just by being new of being an entrepreneur and business owner, I'm like, oh, okay, okay. It's like, oh, okay. Cause you even allow me to see, even like in speaking, especially in using the podcast in a different way. It's like, it's about my message. It's like the more I can talk about my message, the more I can talk about my message, then the more I can get better and all of that. So I really love this, and especially of how I can use my message in different format as well. So I do want to thank you for that.
Oh yeah, no problem. No, that's what this is about, And guys, I'm not fishing for compliments, and I appreciate them, but I got Juliana on here, I got Ange on here, I got Maria on here. Why? Because we take this into consideration in our daily meetings. And what features do we need to add? What ways do we need to engage people? What products and services should we be providing? So this is why we do this. Remember, we had the entire speaker launch formula thing all put together. We did a little bit of data and research based on these calls and realized, wait a minute, scrap that. That ain't the right thing. We got to go in this other direction. So it's your feedback that helps us, right? Because one of the things I've been exploring is, okay, well, if people really want to get customers, wouldn't it be cool if we were to add corporate data or this other type of stuff where they could reach out to companies? But if you don't know what product you're going to sell to them, what are you doing? Right? If you don't have a product that you've already gotten results from, you don't want to go practice on Procter and Gamble. Right? You see what I mean? Like, you got to have your stuff together by that time. Right? So we want to make sure that we can turn speakers into great business owners, but take those business owners and show them the power of using speaking. Right? I'm going to go ahead, Jasmine, 30 seconds.
And if we want some answers, we just email support. We don't
About
have
the
like a
software?
name as like, so when Raquel was there, do you have someone replacing her, or we just do support?
Yeah, we have someone. You have a software question?
Me? Software question? Yeah. Stuff that I don't want to address here.
Okay. Yeah, if it's a software question, email support, right? Support just answers questions about software, right? These calls are for anything else business related and things of that. See you later, Victor. These calls are for anything that's business related, that's not dealing with the software. All of the support is actually technical support. We wanted to get that time consuming stuff off of the videos. Again, we're learning a lot about how to do this. I mean, like, dude, it's, you don't practice perfect. You practice to get perfect, right? So anything else, Jasmine? No? Okay, perfect. All right, Sharon, is it Sharon or Sharon? I keep screwing it up. And sometimes when I'm talking to you, Sayron thinks I'm talking to her. So is it Sharon or Sharon?
It's Sharon.
Okay, Sharon, my bad. Gotcha.
No, that's fine. I do have a question, like for anyone who has a podcast and they want to be, added to your data, how would they be added if they're not already there?
Yeah, there's probably a 99% chance that they're already there if they're on the major podcasting platforms.
Okay.
Right. So if they're doing a podcast, but they just have it on YouTube or they just have it on a Facebook group, then it's not on the podcasting platform. So we don't have it because that information would be private. Right.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, but like this call, I do this call every day, which is more than what most people do their podcast. We could easily convert it to a podcast just by putting it on certain platforms. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Kevin?
Yes, I know you said I could go to Fiverr and get somebody to help me with my website, but those are people I don't know. I trust you mainly and your people, and then maybe the people on this call. So if somebody could recommend someone they have used and got exceptional results with, because right now I'm embarrassed about my website.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I go to it and I'm embarrassed.
Here's the answer to this. Have you tried Fiverr? Do you know how Fiverr works?
I've used them before, yes.
Okay. When you hire someone on Fiverr, you pay, right? But until it's up to your standards, you don't release the money, right? So no need to burden anybody else. Just go there and find the people and then pay. And then when they get it up to your standards, release the cash to them, right? Because our team can't develop that. That's not the business that we're in, right? We're in the business of getting people paid for more speaking gigs, even though we have design feedback and things of that sort. It's really just to, as like a cherry on the top service, more than we could redesign your entire page. That's really not what we're in. That's why we're building out the new speaker profile. The new speaker
okay.
profile is professionally designed by us to be effective at helping you to sell your speeches, your products, and your services. So that's why we went to that design. But I've invested a lot of money in website design in the past, and it's a never-ending story. You will always get better. If you go and you look back at the first website that Maria designed 2 years ago when she first joined us, it doesn't look the same today because we update this thing almost every month. So it's a constant refining. We changed something this morning where one of the buttons go. It's constant testing and refining, right? So so don't be afraid to pay someone to fix it. And then in 6 months, pay someone else to make that better. And then in 6 months, pay someone to make that better. And then in 6 months, pay someone to make that better. Even Google doesn't look the same as it looked 10 years ago. Facebook doesn't look the same as it did 10 years ago. Instagram doesn't look the same. It's continuous improvement, right? And I want
Fair
to
enough.
I want to kind of lead into that because I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we believe that it needs to be perfect, right? And here's one frame. Anybody here familiar with science? Y'all remember basic science of hypothesis and science experiments, right? So whenever you run a science experiment using a scientific method, there's something called a hypothesis. Does anybody know what a hypothesis is? Do you remember? You want to
Isn't it
answer?
an untested theory?
Yeah, an untested theory, right? I assume this is going to happen if we do this. It's like your prediction, right? So if you run an experiment with a certain hypothesis, you find out whether that hypothesis was what? True or false. Does that make sense? After you get the results from that experiment, is the experiment a failure if it's a false? Is it a success if it's true? Anybody know?
I'd say it's a success either way, because either you're going to learn or you're going to get what you want.
Yeah, that's business. If you think of business as a science experiment, we stop putting the pressure on ourselves to always prove our hypothesis true. Right? Because if I know that if I do this and my assumption was false, I can now make a better decision based on the new stuff. Right? So that's why everything that I do is based around that scientific method. Send a bunch of pictures. Why? Because you don't even know who like you. You have an assumption that these are the people you're supposed to be working with, but you know how you test that? Send it to a bunch of other folks. And you can find out who's responding to you. Right? Once you find out who's responding to you, then hone in on them. And then you run another experiment. Out of all of these people who responded, which one I think is these? It's the women with the blonde hair that's going to respond better than the men with the wavy hair. I run that experiment. I find out, oh no, it's the guys with the wavy hair. The women don't care nothing about this. Boom. And then I run another experiment. And that's what business is. We experiment with pricing. We've changed the prices 4 times in the last 9 months. We've changed the pricing model probably 5 times. We went from monthly to lifetime to annual to got to meet with us to sign up front. We're just running experiments. So if you look at your business as a never-ending experiment, all of the imposter syndrome goes away because now you're just a business scientist. right? Now you're just a business scientist. You're just testing hypotheses all day until you find out the right one. So if someone says, oh man, that was wrong, cool. My hypothesis was proven wrong. Let me run a new experiment. Versus, oh man, Jenny, you ain't that smart. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I tested a hypothesis, idiot. I'm a business scientist. If I knew how to make $1 billion, we wouldn't be friends. I would buy new friends, right? so, so when we think of it from that perspective, we're just running experiments and trying to find out what works so that we can keep, what's in benefit to us. Is that a good frame to think about this from, guys? Because now I ain't got to be perfect. I ain't got to be right. Chantel's doing everything. I'm going on podcasts. I'm outside selling bottles of water with my book. They get the book as a bonus. She doing. No, I'm joking. She ain't doing that.
No, seriously. And I just scheduled 2 TV shows for Friday. So yeah.
She trying everything. High five.
Yeah.
High five for the business scientist. Just get out there and try stuff.
Right.
And then once you learn, you lean into the stuff that's working. I tried running Facebook ads. I was terrible at it. I was better at sending emails. So I leaned into emails. I tried working with every type of business. It's hard to sell accounting via email because nobody wants to admit that their accounting is screwed up or that they're behind on their taxes. Right? But it's easy to sell speaking gigs. So I went into that. Does that make sense? I've tried so many things to find the right path. You can't be afraid at the beginning to find your niche. You don't choose your niche. Your niche chooses you. And let me show you how they choose. They choose with one of these. When they put their credit card in, they give you their money. That's how they choose you. You know when they really like you? When they pay more than once. Right? They pay you next month too. And then they pay you next month too. Right? But we can't be afraid to ask them to pay us. So you got to talk to a lot of people, find the people who want to pay you, find out how you can help them the most, help them figure out the product you should build, and then get on podcasting stages in front of those people. Get on the podcasting stages in front of those folks. I help accountants that do real estate tax liens, that help real estate investors with tax liens. Cool. Let me look up all the real estate investors with tax liens conferences. There's probably some accountants there. Do you see what I mean? But I can't choose my niche. I got to let them choose me. But at the beginning, I just got to get out there with everyone. Right? So let me show you why LinkedIn is so dope. So this is the book that that Victor was talking about. You can see I bought that in 2022. It's still available. You can get it for $2 on Kindle. Simon Sinek, you owe me $1 if they buy this. But it's $2 on Kindle. No excuse not to have it. $3. Right? It's a good book on mindset and framing. Right? So let me go over to LinkedIn. Now, why is this Gregory Adaka guy a great opportunity for me? Because I can click on his name right off the bat and see what he does. He has speaker, author, cool. Right? I know what he does. I know what perspective he's coming from. I can look on here and I can say, okay, he works here, he works here, he works here, he works here. Cool. He doesn't have any other products and services. So what is that going? What do I get from this, Kevin? Seeing that he doesn't offer any other products or services or have his own business at all. He gonna hate it over here.
Right. He's a worker. He's an employee.
Well, not only is he an employee, but he's looking to get paid to speak, probably. That's an assumption. He's looking to get paid to speak. But how do I prove that assumption right or wrong? I got to meet with him. I meet with him to test the hypothesis. Is he looking to get paid up front or is he looking to get paid on the back end? You notice we ain't have no more conversations. Right? We ain't have no more conversations after that. But we look at Claudine. Claudine comes to all the calls, came from the same video. Look at how much more conversations we're having. You see what I mean? She's using speaking for a different thing. So she leans into what I talk about. She's trying to build her nonprofit using speaking. Is this making sense? So
Definitely.
she leans in, and we work together all the time. Look, this is how you find your people. But you got to be willing to deal with the people who say, "Nah, this ain't for me right now." I had a call yesterday with someone who when we first bought SpeakerHub, she was one of the first people that signed up for the beta. And she said, "Oh yeah, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that." And I said, "Okay, cool, perfect." Yesterday, she called me back and she says, "Yeah, I probably should have used this because we wasted 9 months trying to find all this stuff, Googling, and it just dawned on me you had 45,000 conferences already, and we should have just used that. How do I just sign up? Just give me the link." So here's the thing. No is just not now. It ain't never, it's no. It ain't, there's no EVER in no. But if you look at no as a contraction for NO apostrophe, just like when you put don't, it leaves out a letter at the apostrophe, NO apostrophe. That just means not now. They left off the T now on there. Not now. You come on back. Come back. We'll be here. You're going to get more frustrated doing it the other way than doing it with us. And that's how we have to think about it, guys. Is this fair? I'm leaning into this because this is where people quit. Right? This is where people quit. There's a better book that I think is better for everyone. The book that Victor talks about is great, but this is a better book for most people on this call for where you all are right now. All right? And it's by a guy named Seth Godin, and it's called The Dip. And this dip, right? This is really, really, really important. Let me explain it to you really quickly. So what Seth says is we start a business and we're super duper duper excited about it, right? Man, my book just came out. This is great. And I'm gonna pick on Kevin, right? My book came out when Kevin's book first came out and he made them first few sales, he was on cloud 9, right? But he was actually on this naive curve because what he assumed is when I let this book out, people are going to be buying my book every month for the rest of my life. I'm going to be making $2,000 to $3,000 a month in sales.
Thought I was going to save the world.
That's it. But when you launch that book, your sales go above what you expected. Man, this really caught on, right? And then it goes into what we call the dip, where the sales go down, but you're working harder than ever, and you can't figure out how to get out of the valley of despair. Because over here, we had what we call uninformed optimism. We were optimistic about the business, but we had no idea the issues we were going to run into. Man, this is going to be great. I quit my job. I'm about to do my own thing. Cool. You ever ran a business before? Nope. So you're incompetent. You got 5 years worth of money saved up? Nope. So you're underfunded. Right? You think you could do better than your current job? You hate corporate? Yep. You're arrogant. Right? So you're underfunded, incompetent, and arrogant. But those are the things that make us a great entrepreneur. That's where innovation comes from. It comes from the underfunded, incompetent, and arrogant because you don't know how to do it. So you figure out a new way how to do it. You ain't got enough money to buy all the fancy tools. So you figure out how to do it with duct tape and bubble gum. Right? But your arrogance is the thing that keeps you positive and going. Your belief in yourself is what makes it work. But you know the cool thing about the dip? This is where everybody else quits. They don't get a coach. They don't get around other folks that are going through the dip too. They don't get around people that have been through the dip. Does that make sense? So I'm no different than anyone else. I've gone through this. That's the data that I show you all when I bring up campaigns, right? I show you all that dip. Does that make sense? Why? So that you don't think that I'm better than you guys, but it's to encourage you to say, come on, look, there's a hole over here. Watch out for that. Grab this rock and pull yourself up. And then I'm going to throw you a rope. I know it's not the rope you want, but it's a rope that'll get you out. Well, I want to be this way. Okay, stay down there. And whoever want to grab my rope, come on up. Now, here's the cool thing about it. You're in this dip in your business. Does that make sense? Is that fair? But you're over here in your solution. Let me back up again. You're here in the business, but you're over here in the solution. So your job when you have the solution is to pull everybody else out of that dip where they're having the problem. They don't have the answer. Now, let me tell you the funny thing about it. There's the old saying, new levels, new devils. If you want to get up here, you get there. Then if you want to go to the higher part, what you got to do? Go down. You right here. If you want to get to this higher part, what you got to do? Go down. You up here, but you want to get to that one, what you got to do? Go down. So you never stop going through the dip, guys. We think we solve it forever. Yeah, if you want to stay at that level. But if you want to keep growing, you're going to go through these dips, so get used to it. Kevin, I want to ask you a quick example of this. Can you stand up? Right? Okay, there's Kevin, right? Kevin, all right, can you turn off your screen that's blurry, that with you being on the moon? This is Neil Armstrong, Kevin Hipstead, first man to walk on the moon, right?
All
First
right,
black
y'all
man
gonna
to walk
see
on the moon.
y'all gonna see my kitchen.
It don't matter. We don't care about your kitchen.
I'm trying to find choose
when you click on video.
background.
When
None.
you click on videos, video settings, and it says adjust backgrounds. Background.
Okay, I'm looking for it.
Right?
Video settings.
Well, let's do it this way. Yeah, it's okay. Jasmine, can you stand if you don't mind? Okay, so there's Jasmine, right? So if I ask Jasmine to jump, what's the first action she's going to take? What's the first thing that happens, Jenny, if Jasmine's going to jump?
She's gonna bend her knees and dip.
Yeah, she got to dip.
Yeah.
In order to go higher, you got to dip. But if she wants to go higher, she can't stay with her knees down. Eventually, she has to release that energy and risk leaving the ground, leaving the stability of the ground. That's when we all get scared because we don't know how it's going to land. We don't know how we're going to land. Man, I may land and blow out my knee. I may land and hurt my back. But if you've done all the preparation ahead of time, you don't have to jump as high as you can. Just jump a little bit. And say, okay, I figured this out. Let me just go a little bit. Let me just go a little bit more. And then before you know it, you're jumping without any problem. You're jumping and twisting. You're jumping and doing the toe touch. What is it called? Toe touch when they do the cheerleaders like that. I can't do it because my legs don't go that way. But you do the where you can jump up in the air and touch their toes and do a split at the same time. Yes, I think it's called a toe touch, right? But that wasn't their first jump, is the point I'm making. So how many of y'all feel like you're in a dip where you're like, yo, I'm stuck in the same spot that I've been at for a long time? Yeah, we feel like we're there, right? But here's the great thing about it. When you're in that spot, all you need to do is to see other folks that are doing a little bit more. And you can say, okay, I don't think Chantel's that much smarter than me, right? So if she can do it, she may be doing more than what I want to do, but I just need to do one to get my confidence under me, right? If I can do one podcast and I get a lead, that is great. If I go on 3 podcasts and I don't get no leads, I need to ask Ron, what am I doing wrong? Right? Because we got everybody here is either, well, I'll say this, everybody here is in a dip no matter what. Right? Let me go back to my curve here. Right? So even though with my solution, I'm here, with my business, I'm trying to grow it. So I'm watching and I'm learning from other people who can pull me up in the business. And then we say, okay, this solution will get them here. How do we get them to that 6-star, that 7-star thing? Right? This is it, guys. The issue is we're usually on this naive curve. We believe this is how it worked. And why? Because we ain't never talked to nobody that's did what we was trying to do. Right? Let's see. Let's see how I thought it would be, how it was. Line. Right? There's a line. There's this thing that has this squiggly line. Right? And it ain't there, but I can't find it. There's this thing that has this, like, how I thought it was going to be. And it's like a straight line. But how it was in reality, all of these squigglies and, how I thought it would be line. Let's see. Maybe that was, I can't find it. But there's a comparison thing that says how I thought it was going to be, and it's a straight line. But how it really is, man, you're going through all types of circles, ups and downs, round and rounds, right? That's what you chose to do. Like, I mean, that's what you signed up for, guys. So any other thoughts as we close out today? Was this helpful? The dip thing, was that, we're all in the same dip. We're just a bit further ahead on the solution. Here, I'm just reaching back to people that are in the dip that I used to be in and offering help. I'm being the leader I needed. Does that make sense?
Ron, check the link in
this?
the chat. That's the graphic I think you're looking for.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly. Yeah, but then Business Insider don't like me, so they blocked me. They told me I got to pay. Can you share it on your screen?
Yes.
There it is. Everybody who tell me they about to quit their job, I'm like, yep, they'll be back. Right? Because I did it. I left a great job at Farmers Insurance. I was making 6 figures, company car, running 300 offices in 2007. You know how much 6 figures was in 2007? A lot. And I was like, yep, I can do better.
6 figures is still a lot.
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying in 2007, that was 20
Yeah.
years ago. That was a heck of a lot for a 25, 26-year-old, But, it's like the old Drake song. I'm just saying you could do better. Yeah, okay. Don't you listen to that crap. Tell me, have you heard that lately? Yeah, we think it's going to be better without that job. That idiot boss that we thought we had, we realized maybe he knows something. So here's my job. My job is to help you to make more money using speaking as that tool. My expertise is helping entrepreneurs to make a livable wage. I don't know how to make you all billionaires, but on the way to a billionaire, you need to make a livable wage. And most speakers aren't making a livable wage from speaking. Right? Your confidence goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Right? Huh?
Oh, I thought I was on mute. I'm always ad-libbing here to myself. I thought I was on mute. Hold on, let me go back on mute and talk to myself.
She was just co-signing, Ron.
Okay, I'm like,
she didn't expect us to hear her.
She, she shooby dooby whopping in the background. I needed Rondo here for that joke, right? Melody, good to see you again. Bonnie, good to see you. Ann, always good to see you. I don't know where Ann McNeil is in the world today, but I'm sure she's in a place that's pretty cool. AJ, Michelle, yeah, man, We gotta help folks to make some bread, man. Like life is already hard, but it's really hard when we to the outside world we're entrepreneurs, but on the inside we know we're not living up to what our full potential is. Does that make sense? So at SpeakerHub, we're trying to be an example of this. One of the things that we've challenged our team to do. I challenged all 22 or 23 of our full-time people to create their own courses and start selling their own courses. If I can't help the people that are closest to me, how can I ever help you guys? These are the folks I work with in the trenches every day. And you know what? They got 40 hours of work a week, 40 hours a week of work to do, just like everybody else. So if I can help Juliana to put up a course, or I can help Maria to put up a course, or Carlos to launch a course while they're working for us full time, kind of removes a bunch of the excuses, right? And they're going to do a course. Some of them may do it in English. English ain't even their first language, right? Now, it'll be dope if they took advantage of it and did one in English and one in Spanish. That would be incredible, right? But they're going to start going on podcasts too, right? To promote their courses and to promote their stuff, right? So we're going to show you better than we can tell you. Nada, nice to meet you. How are you? Nadia, you there? You're in the right place. Nadia, you there? You're in the right place. This isn't the wrong place. She's probably like, who are all these people? Nadia, how are you? You're in the right place. I'm Ron Story. Our 12 o'clock Eastern meeting just went a little bit over. So we have a meeting now for 12:30. If you want to introduce yourself, I'm going to end this meeting, but Nadia, you and I will stay. But this is a bunch of speakers that we work with all over the world. I'm in South America. I think Jenny is in the UK. Jasmine is in Canada. Ann McNeil is probably in Russia or someplace. I don't know where she is today. She's negotiating with Putin. But we have people all over the world that are speakers. So if you want to introduce yourself, that'll be great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm greetings from Austria in Middle Europe. I am mainly acting coach and teacher of public speaking here in Vienna, also in university. And I am excited to see your beautiful community and a little bit speak with Ron.
Oh, yeah. No, that's cool. Yeah. Nice to meet you also. So, guys, I'm going to let you all go. We've been on for an hour and a half, 30 minutes of overtime today. So I got to go back to work. But